Government assassins climb the ladder only to learn someone can pull it out from under them. Rob Lucci goes from Eni's lobby defeat to CP0 promotion to getting vampire bitten by his own coworker. And it all ends with an elder descending like Judgment Day. Watch till the end to see who kneels in terror when the 5 elders arrive. The episode kicks off with the entire world being hijacked. Every single Den Mushi, especially the ones used by the Marines, suddenly flicker to life, broadcasting a single, unblockable message from the world's greatest genius, Dr. Vegapunk. The Marines are in a full-blown panic, scrambling to cut the feed, but it's no use. Vegapunk has piggybacked their own comms traffic, creating a broadcast with the strongest signal imaginable that no one can turn off. We flash back to see how this all went down. It's a pre-recorded message with Vegapunk and all his satellites, including a very much alive Shaka. Vegapunk is confident that once the news agencies get this, it'll spread like wildfire. But Shaka, ever the pragmatist, points out the obvious flaw. What if the world government just censors it? Vegapunk admits he didn't think of that, and that's when the plan is hatched. Use the Marines' own network against them. Vegapunk initially suggests a 1-hour waiting period for everyone to get their visual Den Mushi ready, but Shaka immediately shuts that down. An hour is way too long. It gives their enemies time to find the source and shut them down for good. Vegapunk sees the logic and makes the call, 10 minutes. The world has 10 minutes to prepare for the truth. In the present, the countdown begins, and Vegapunk, ever the eccentric, decides it's the perfect time to brew some coffee. Meanwhile, in the Holy Land of Mary Joie, the other 4 elders are having a telepathic conference call with Saturn on Egghead. It's absolutely insane, they're just communicating mind to mind across thousands of miles. Is it a devil fruit? Advanced hockey. Nobody knows, but it's happening. They cut right to the chase. Is Vegapunk really dead? Saturn reports back that he saw Kizaru land what looked like a fatal blow. He's pretty sure the job is done. The others immediately deduce this broadcast must be a dead man switch, a final contingency triggered by his death. Their priority is to find the source of the signal, which they correctly guess is in the Labo phase, currently shielded by the Frontier Dome. As the 10-minute timer ticks down, we see the entire world reacting. In Dressrosa, Rebecca, Leo, and Kairos are scrambling to get the big screens working. Leo, bless his heart, is still running with the fake news, asking if this is the smart guy that Luffy Land kidnapped. Rebecca immediately shuts him down, telling him not to believe the lies that make her friend Lucy look evil. In Fuchsia Village, Mayor Whoopslap says they don't have fancy projectors, so they'll just have to listen to the audio. Over at the World Economy newspaper headquarters, Vivi is there with Wapol, and she's worried, asking where Luffy is. Big News Morgans is losing his mind with excitement, recognizing that even though it's on a marine frequency, the signal is totally unencrypted. He also clocks that it's a pre-recorded message based on the time shown on a clock in the background. Then we jump to Water 7, where it's nighttime. The legendary shipwright Iceberg is woken up and immediately knows something is up. He tells his incredible secretary, Alice, to get screens prepared, but she's already on it. This woman is absolutely amazing. She tells him screens are already being set up on every dock in the city. The reaction spreads across all the blues too. In the West Blue, people are surprised by Dr. Vegapunk's appearance, especially that whole cut apple head situation. The North Blue is braving the cold to listen to the man who illuminated their world. Down in the South Blue, they're wondering what could be important enough for Vegapunk to address them like this, maybe some revolutionary invention or breakthrough. And finally, we see the Revolutionary Army in the Kamabaka Queendom. Ivankov is shocked to see Vegapunk's new Applehead look. Koala is surprised to finally see the man in person, while Morley admires his guts for pulling a stunt like this. Dragon is just watching silently, his mind flashing back to when Shaka told him that he expected to die very soon. Seriously, this guy Dragon just reminiscing instead of taking action is something else. Back on Egghead, the main event is still going down. Luffy, in his giant Gear 5 form, is still holding on to Kizaru and Saturn. He's getting frustrated, realizing his punches aren't doing any real damage to the Elder. Kizaru sees an opening and fires a laser beam from his eyes, while Saturn raises a venomous leg to strike. But Luffy is just too massive, dodging the attacks without letting go of either of them. He's not letting them go until he knows his friends are safe, so he decides to try a new strategy. Reeling his giant arms back, Luffy unleashes a brand new attack, screaming, "Gomu Gomu no Dawn symbol." He slaps his hands together with Kizaru and Saturn caught in between. The impact is ridiculous. When he pulls his hands apart, both the Admiral and the Gorosei are flattened into literal paper-thin pancakes, with little stars circling their heads. The level of disrespect is off the charts. Luffy then picks up the two flattened powerhouses and starts twirling them on his finger like pizza dough. People are already calling Kizaru Pizarro after this. A marine with binoculars manages to catch a glimpse of this absolute madness, which is incredibly bold considering Saturn promised to kill anyone who looks at him without permission. This guy is really risking it all just to witness Luffy turning the world's most dangerous people into cartoon characters. Seeing that he can't seem to finish them off, Luffy decides to just get rid of them, yeeting both of them towards the ocean with a huge grin on his face. Kizaru goes flying and crashes into a marine battleship, causing a massive explosion. We see him lying there on the deck, panting, completely taken out of the fight for now. In what looks like his final act, Kizaru covers his wounds with light, essentially cauterizing them shut, like he's sealing his own injuries to keep himself alive just a little longer. But Saturn is a different story. Just as Luffy is laughing, the Pancake Flat Elder comes flying back like a boomerang, reforming and spinning like a venomous buzzsaw with his bladed legs aimed right at Luffy's head. Luffy's face shifts from joy to pure frustration and shock. He dodges the attack and is just furious, screaming, "What? Why isn't he taking any damage after I did all that?" And that's the billion-dollar question. Is this just his broken regeneration? Some kind of tangible projection? A power granted by Imu herself that makes the elders basically immortal? We don't know, but it's clear Saturn is on another level of broken. Just then, the telepathic link reopens. The other Gorosei tell Saturn, "There is no time. We cannot allow Vegapunk to talk." Saturn gets the message. He looks up and says aloud, "I know. Then I shall call you all." And then it happens. Saturn touches the ground and a massive magic circle appears, identical to the one that summoned him in the first place. But this time, it's not alone. In 4 other locations around him, black lightning strikes the ground, and 4 giant summoning circles erupt in huge columns of black flame. Meanwhile, the giant warrior pirates have made it back to their ship with Bonnie, Frankie, and Atlas safely in tow, but even they can feel the demonic energy spreading across the island. Luffy is just staring, his eyes literally popping out of their sockets as he just says, "What are those?" Miles away, Sanji, who is still carrying Vegapunk's body, looks back in horror. He recognizes the energy, the flames, the sheer demonic presence. He says, "Those things." Back on Egghead, absolute chaos erupts when 4 lightning strikes slam into the ground like the world's ending. Every single marine on this island stops breathing for a second because they've witnessed this horror before. Vice Admiral Bluegrass and her soldiers are staring at the sky with pure dread in their eyes. They remember exactly what happened when Saturn made his entrance, and now they're getting 4 times worse. The giant pirates are still giving rides to Bonnie, Frankie, and Atlas when hell breaks loose above them. Bonnie's face turns ghost white because she knows her friends are walking into a death trap. Some giant warrior goes berserk and fires an arrow big enough to sink a battleship. These massive warriors start teamwork with pacifistas to absolutely wreck marine vessels. Dory and Brogy come bulldozing through the trees with 2 more giant buddies who look ready to flatten everything. Cut to Mary Joie, where we see the most spine-chilling sight ever. That throne room where the 5 elders have controlled the world for decades. Totally empty now except for this burning demon circle carved into the floor. These symbols aren't just decorations, they look like ancient curse writing that could summon nightmares. Vegapunk's world broadcast keeps rolling while this madman casually creates the most revolutionary drink ever. He drops 1 tiny bit of Vega coffee into water and instantly turns it into perfect hot coffee. This genius could make billions selling this, but instead he's sipping his invention and asking how much time before he drops the biggest secret bomb in history. 7 minutes left. More demon portals keep opening up around Saturn. Luffy's standing there with his jaw hitting the floor as 4 shadow monsters crawl out like something from your worst nightmares. And get this, recorded Vegapunk basically guarantees his own doom by bragging that nobody could stop his broadcast in 7 minutes. Talk about tempting fate. Sanji's sprinting like an Olympic runner carrying unconscious Vegapunk while desperately trying to warn his crew. How do you even explain actual demons just showed up over a phone call? Luffy's watching more monsters join the party and looking like he might have a heart attack. Time for the monster showcase. Saturn transforms into this Gyuki. Imagine a spider had babies with an ox and gave it a demon's face for good measure. Ancient legends used this beast to scare people away from dangerous seas. Mars becomes an Itsumad. Picture the most terrifying bird you've ever seen, slap a snake tail on it, and make it scream about eternal suffering. When this nightmare appears, death follows close behind, and honestly, it's the most badass scary design ever. Warcury turns into a Feng Shi. basically a demon boar with 4 giant tusks wrapped in hellfire. His fancy mustache literally became deadly weapons. Remember that massive boar god Odin fought in Wano? Maybe ancient people worshipped boars because they were terrified of this monster. Nusjuro becomes a Bakotsu, a skeleton horse that screams death is coming in every mythology, and Jupiter. This guy's a sandworm that could swallow skyscrapers like snacks. Here's the game changer, we're not getting devil fruit names, just creature names. What if devil fruits are just humanity's pathetic attempts to steal these monsters' powers? Nusjuro lets out a horse scream that could shatter glass, surrounded by flames like he just crawled out of hell. This skeletal nightmare uses observation hockey to spot pacifistas demolishing marine ships, then pulls the most disturbing trick ever. His human face pushes through his horse nostrils like the world's worst magic act. He moves faster than light, turning into a blur that Marines think they're hallucinating. His black sword doesn't just slice through pacifistas, it freezes them into ice sculptures. When Marines inspect the damage, these million-dollar robots aren't chopped up, they're frozen solid like they got hit by an ice age. One by one, he's converting the entire robot army into his personal ice collection in seconds. This is absolutely mind-blowing. Having a black blade makes you one of the world's greatest swordsmen, but this guy's also faster than anything alive. Plus, he's demolishing robots that could survive buster calls like they're paper. But here's the brilliant part, he's not wasting valuable government property, he's just putting them on ice. Remember those Swordmaster lessons about cutting what you choose and protecting what matters? This skeleton horse just schooled everyone while barely trying. Think about this. How many times has this elder actually fought in 8 centuries? Did anyone who faced him survive to brag about it? Plus, this thing has ice powers that make Brook look like an amateur. Mars launches into the sky like a death bird aimed straight at the island's barrier. Sanji grabs his phone, screaming at the girls because there's no way to describe this horror. There's a literal flying nightmare heading their way. When Mars unleashes his battle cry, ancient stories say it means death has arrived. The barrier explodes like the 4th of July, but if this monster is as tough as Saturn, those fireworks are just pretty decorations. Some marine doctor examines the frozen robots and announces their guts are completely iced. They're expensive paperweights now. Marines start celebrating because they think this gives them a shot at capturing Bonnie and stealing back their machines. While Mars plays aerial bomber and Nusjuro keeps making ice art, Marines figure out Bonnie's heading northeast with the Strawhats. Half their robot army is already out cold. Sanji can't put this nightmare into words, so he just screams at everyone to run for their lives because death is flying their way. Mars won't quit and keeps Kamikaze diving into the barrier like a demon missile. Back where the real madness is happening, Luffy's dancing around Saturn's spider legs like he's in the world's deadliest ballet when Jupiter decides to crash the party. This massive worm rockets into the ground and vanishes underground, and Luffy knows exactly what's coming, death from below. Even with 2 elders playing elsewhere, they figure our rubber captain deserves 3 demons ganging up on him. That's some serious respect. Usopp grabs Sanji's panic call and he's totally ready to bail like always, but there's one problem, Zoro and Jinbe are still missing. At least our coward hero stepped up when it counted, using his Green Star bamboo javelin to save the ship from becoming a runaway sled. Brook starts acting all cocky about everything being fine, so Lilith boots him for being stupid since Usopp's the one who actually saved everyone. Jinbe decides he's dragging Zoro back even if he has to knock him unconscious. Zoro's still messing around with Rob Lucci while one of his swords goes flying like a boomerang. Lucci's getting all excited about the massive power levels popping up everywhere, and Zoro notices these insane energy signatures scattered across the island. Finally, Jinbe gets close enough to witness these two still having their little dance-off. Sanji tells Jinbe to hurry up and end this mess because Zoro's being selfish and putting everyone in danger. And guess what? Zoro hears every word through the phone. His face could incinerate steel right now. Lucci thinks this rage is his golden ticket and rushes in with his new spotted handgun move. But Zoro casually dodges like he's swatting a mosquito, snatches his spinning sword out of the air, chomps it between his teeth, and finally decides to get serious with 3-sword style. Zoro drops a brand new technique called Spotted Leopard Hunt, basically a custom attack designed to mock Lucci's leopard spots. And boom, Rob Lucci gets absolutely annihilated in one strike. Zoro didn't even need his battle bandana. That's what happens when you wound this man's pride. Meanwhile, Luffy glances down and Jupiter's gigantic mouth opens faster than lightning, and our rubber hero gets swallowed like a piece of candy. Right when everything looks hopeless, 2 legendary voices boom across the battlefield. Brogy asks Dory if he spotted Luffy, and Dory gets all sentimental seeing his face. These giant legends agree that no buddy of theirs belongs in some monster's stomach. Working as a team, they unleash their sunsaw technique and chop that worm's head clean off. Luffy explodes out like a human rocket, cackling like crazy and totally stunned to see his giant friends on Egghead. Brogy says it's been way too long, and Dory announces they got sick of waiting and came to personally rescue him. Mars blasts through the Frontier Dome like a comet, straight from the underworld, creating explosions that turn the sky into a light show. This demonic bird crawls out of the destruction looking completely untouchable, resembling the most nightmare-inducing creature you could imagine. The Elder locks his terrifying gaze and realizes he's gotten dangerously close to the source of Vegapunk's worldwide message. Jinbei stares upward with pure horror. This seasoned warrior actually trembles at the sight of this aerial demon. He whips his attention back to Zoro and yells that this battle is finished. They have to evacuate immediately. Zoro finally spots Jinbei after processing Sanji's savage insult. But when they spin around, they witness something unbelievable. Rob Lucci is still on his feet even after getting completely demolished. This leopard fighter is copying exactly how Luffy refused to surrender during their legendary Enies Lobby showdown. Lucci gets ready to shrug off his injuries with an angry snarl, displaying absolutely no intention of giving up. Sanji questions whether Jinbei has collected Zoro yet, and our fishman warrior is prepared to finish this chaos. Grabbing onto Zoro, Jinbei informs the swordsman that victory is already his. He readies his own technique, but courteously says sorry to the Lucci beforehand. Jinbei launches his 5,000 brick fist, generating an enormous smoke cloud that launches them clear of the combat zone. Lucci steadies himself against the tornado-strength gusts as they vanish, transforming back to human form. But Mars materializes in front of the CP0 operative, ordering him to reveal Vegapunk York's whereabouts. Lucci is completely floored by this heavenly nightmare. During Jinbei's piggyback escape with Zoro, the swordsman is totally clueless about what he just experienced. Lucci delivers Mars a full tactical briefing. York is restrained in the control center on Building A's 4th level. He produces a black Den Den Mushi and names the 2 opponents who just fled, along with mentioning 5 additional Straw Hats and 2 Vegapunks on the upper floor, scheming to escape via the rear exit. He additionally mentions 4 Seraphim and 85 Cypher Pole operatives imprisoned in the lower levels, with merely 6 minutes remaining until Vegapunk's transmission begins. Mars praises Lucci for his detailed briefing while soaring above. But as this winged god begins departing, Lucci frantically demands he has one last crucial point. He solemnly reveals that his partner Kaku remains severely wounded in the control center, pleading with the Elder to protect his life. That's completely new. I never imagined Lucci would ever express that kind of concern. Mars wastes no time crushing those dreams, heartlessly clarifying, it's tough to save one particular bug when you're exterminating the whole nest. Back at the action, Luffy is bouncing off with excitement seeing his massive buddies again. Our rubber hero is chatting happily with the giant duo next to the now decapitated Elder Worm. Luffy keeps saying how it's been more than 2 years since their last meeting. Honestly, these giants can barely identify him anymore. Brogy talks about how legends circulate in Elbaf regarding the deity that Luffy embodies, curious about where he discovered this transformation. Our stretchy captain is completely lost about their meaning. Warcurie absolutely never anticipated running into giants on Egghead. Saturn calls this development a nasty complication. This monstrous creature brings back memories for Dory of Elbaf's wilderness areas. Luffy informs his buddies they shouldn't be engaging in combat right now. Evacuation is the priority. These giant warriors got the message from Sanji during their journey here. The cook wanted them to relay that everyone's assembling on the island's opposite side. Dory raises a horn to his lips and takes a deep breath. These warriors refuse to watch the Straw Hats get captured by the Navy. He sounds the horn, creating an earth-shaking noise that booms across the entire battlefield. Every other giant warrior hears this call. It means their leaders have located Luffy. Victoriously hoisting their weapons skyward, these fighters get ready to return to their vessel. Saving the Straw Hats is their sole mission here, and destroying marine battleships won't earn them any loot anyway. They burst into laughter while Navy soldiers shake with pure fear. Warcurie hates that they're broadcasting a retreat signal and chooses to respond with his own version. This demon pig wants to demonstrate how useless trying to flee would be. Luffy senses the danger even before the attack launches. With a thunderous bellow, this beast unleashes his conqueror's haki. Luffy and his giant allies must steady themselves against this otherworldly roar. Trees and rubble get tossed around like a hurricane just hit. It even strips away Luffy's hat, scar, pants, and sandals. The impact spreads way past their battle, terror grips the Marines once more, and several collapse from the overwhelming pressure. The giant leaders worry about Luffy, but his rubber body somehow withstands the assault. Luffy mentions how narrow that escape was while sticking his scar back on. Identifying this as Conqueror's Haki, he questions who this monster could be. Brogy simply labels him a world government heavyweight. The demonic pig spins through the atmosphere, stunning Luffy, but the giants are ready for action. Warcury's tusks transform into sword blades that crash into their shields. They call this their Sun Shield defense. This boar demon questions what destiny could connect these giants to someone like Luffy, curious if they possess any knowledge about him. The warriors crack up at such a simple question. Luffy is their buddy. With lightning-fast coordination, they launch the giant pig away. He smashes down beside Saturn while Dory and Brogy demonstrate their incredible strength, though it's still puzzling how Mr. Three's candles managed to trap and fool them so easily. The Ox Spider takes a deep breath, recognizing their position before firing a storm of dark projectiles. He announces they'll be wiped from history's pages alongside Luffy. Spotting this incoming assault, Luffy predicts poison danger and warns his friends to be careful. Stretching out a massive gear third arm, he yanks up a palm tree and quickly carves it with his teeth into a baseball bat design. Then grabbing a paint bucket, he covers the bat in shimmering golden paint. He slaps on a helmet and gets ready for the perfect swing. As the toxic spheres close in, Luffy takes action. He simultaneously launches every single one back where they came from, exploding with laughter as he tells them to enjoy their own poison. The elders clearly never saw that coming. Who would expect that? But here comes the shocking twist. Those returned attacks detonate into multiple explosive clouds. Luffy is absolutely speechless witnessing this atomic-level devastation. A couple giant crew members inform their leaders that these flames are going to seal off the forest route. Dory concludes it's departure time, but Brogy can't see any real urgency since those monsters appear eliminated. Luffy sets him straight. They must keep moving because these enemies are literally immortal. All three dark figures rise from the fire completely intact. Luffy and the giants begin their retreat while Dory questions whether they're actually immortal beings. Luffy remains uncertain, but regardless of his attempts, they just keep regenerating. Brogy has never encountered any species or power that grants such abilities, but despite running away, he considers this a win. Nami and the crew are standing by with the Sunny while she urges Jinbei and Zoro to hurry up. Jinbei confirms they're heading that way, but Zoro argues they'd arrive much quicker if they could both sprint normally, but knowing Zoro, if Jinbei lets him run alone, he'll probably get lost, and we'll see him in some completely different anime next episode. Bonnie arrives at the giant warrior pirate vessel, but danger is waiting. Vice Admirals Pomsky, Guillotine, and Red King have positioned themselves to eliminate her. At the same time, Sanji continues his sprint, carrying Dr. Vegapunk when Mars suddenly materializes before York, demanding she reveal the location of the rune displayed on the screen. This loudmouth woman breaks into tears as the demon speaks, questioning its identity and begging it to go away. Navy personnel gather around Kizaru, questioning whether he's injured and offering medical assistance. Still hiding his eyes, the Admiral confesses his injuries go much deeper, making them even more concerned about helping him. But rest is all he desires. This hits deep, knowing he's lost nearly all his friends who brought joy to his life, leaving him with no one close due to his conflicted sense of justice. But there's an even more pressing development. Something vastly bigger than even a giant has just emerged on the northwest coastline. This ancient machine glides through the flames like they're harmless water droplets. After centuries of slumber, the ancient iron giant has finally awakened, pleading for Joy Boy's forgiveness. The Gorosei believed this machine was obliterated ages ago. It almost leveled the Holy Land. Because of Luffy's presence, they'll be forced to confront this terror once more. Based on everything we've witnessed, Saturn wields poison abilities, Mars controls electricity, Warcury commands fire, Noosjuro manipulates ice, and Jupiter dominates earth elements. Special recap episode covering Cypherpole Aegis Zero's greatest hits and biggest failures. On Dressrosa, three white-suited figures glide through the toy-filled streets. Robin sweats, Law tenses behind his disguise, and Usopp's jaw hits the floor. The narrator drops the name, Cypherpole Aegis Zero, the world government's ultimate intelligence agency. In a back alley, one agent meets Rob Lucci, now wearing white with Hattori on his shoulder. The promotion is official. Flashback to Water 7 shows younger Lucci as a shipwright before an explosion rocks galley. Wounded Iceberg watches as masked figures reveal themselves. CP9's undercover squad drops their disguises. Kaku, Khalifa, Blue and O. Years of fake smiles end in one night. At Eni's lobby, Luffy in Gear 2nd trades blows with Lucci at speeds that blur reality. Lucci smiles through damage like he enjoys pain. Then Luffy screams, "Gomu Gomu no Jet Gatling," and turns Lucci's body into a percussion instrument. Hundreds of punches send him through a wall. Both collapse, winner and loser hitting the ground together. Hattori lands beside his unconscious partner, showing more loyalty than most coworkers ever will. At the reverie, Lucci in his new CP0 uniform kicks Leo away from Celestial Dragon Charlos. The promotion is clear. Fail at Enies lobby, get upgraded to protect the worst people alive. You're telling me losing gets you a raise in government work? In Wano, masked CP0 agent Guernica grabs Luffy's arm mid-attack against Kaido. The distraction lets Kaido land a devastating blow that shakes Onigashima's floating island. Buildings crumble as the agent walks through flames unbothered. Interfering in god fights is apparently just another Tuesday for these guys. On Egghead, Luffy spots Lucci and his face shifts from happy to annoyed instantly. Lucci transforms into his awakened form with black flame scarf. Luffy laughs and activates Gear 5th, turning massive with white flame hair. The ground becomes rubber, physics becomes optional. He creates goggles from nothing, grabs Lucci, and yells "Gomu Gomu no Dawn Rocket." Lucci flies across the island, crashing through buildings. Luffy hangs upside down laughing because this is entertainment. Kaku attacks the Thousand Sunny, but Zoro blocks with swords looking bored. Flashback shows Kaku and Khalifa eating devil fruits and gagging on the taste. Back to now, Kaku awakens into giraffe form with black flames. Zoro clashes and sends him flying with one slash. Being tall just means further to fall. The Seraphim activate Child Soldier Pacifistas with Warlord powers and Lunarian wings. S-Bear and S-Hawk demolish the lab with lasers. Stussy appears behind distracted Kaku, sprouts bat wings, bites his neck. He drops foaming at the mouth. Lucci confronts her and the text reveals she's a clone of a Rocks pirate. She fires a paper illusion of Hattori to distract him, then bites his neck too. 2 agents down, vampire coworker wins. S-Bear fires lasers. Lucci and Kaku end up defeated in sea stone cuffs while Seraphim stand over them. Luffy and Zoro stare at their captured enemies with disgust. Team up with these guys. No way. I'd rather die. The group gathers in a wrecked room. Luffy eats while the 5 elders call via transponder snail. Lucci tells Hattori to report to allies. That pigeon does more work than most managers. Stussy sips tea, then her eyes snap open, sensing danger. Hattori flies off. Lucci lunges at Vegapunk. Stussy intercepts, takes the finger pistol strike meant for the doctor. Blood bursts from her mouth. She drops unconscious. Lucci stands over her cold and menacing. Sanji's eye burns with rage. Zoro moves at extreme speed. Sparks explode as swords clash with Lucci's hockey-coated leg inside the lab. The clash sends them flying outside into the Fabriophase jungle. Lucci, in awakened leopard form, parries Zoro's aerial slashes with claws. Scene shifts. A giant bird-like creature, St. Marcus Mars, one of the 5 elders, in his awakened form. Lucci kneels covered in blood and cuts, staring up in pure terror. What viewers miss, CP0 shows every flaw in the world government. Water 7 proved they'll erase history with smiles. Dressrosa showed authority runs on fear. The Reverie revealed they guard thrones, not people. Wano exposed they'll sabotage justice for corruption. Egghead completes the circle as their own weapon turns on them, and an elder arrives to remind everyone what unkillable actually means. I'm calling it. Stussy and Edison hit the panic button next episode, buying seconds against immortality while the island burns. That's the recap. Lucci got humbled by rubber twice, Kaku learned giraffes can't fly, and Stussy proved the most dangerous agent is the one nobody suspected. CP0 climbed high and fell harder. If you're stalling one elder for 60 seconds, who survives? Stussy with vampire tricks, Zoro with stubborn steel, or Usopp with the bluff of his life? Pick your sacrifice. If this recap showed you how fast loyalty dies when the government's involved, hit that subscribe button and let me know who had the worst day. Lucci getting bitten by his coworker or Kaku realizing his giraffe neck doesn't help against Zoro. Drop your vote and let's hit the next milestone together.